Hello everyone, my name is Luke Nicholas and I'm going to be going through an update for Chomp N Cheeky. This is version 1.3.1 with feedback, work on fixes and tweaks, which is precisely what I've been working on since the version release of 1.2.0. Had a lot of feedback around just around the bars that were introduced for rune and treasure progress. They weren't exactly that clear. So what I've done is basically add the word there for treasure and the word here for runes. And the bar fills up like normal, of course. We also have a generic rune indicator now, which is a lot easier to see and more understandable. I think people would understand that that is a rune, or is a rune. And the other thing is a lot of fixes. So we fixed issues with Chomp not going into, not stopping to chase Cheeky at his last seen location. There was some inconsistencies around that. That's been fixed. We fixed helper pop-ups that were appearing behind the dark screen and fixed a line of sight issue causing Chomp to ignore Cheeky after seeing him while he was eating bread or next to some other obstacle. So a lot of those things were being tested from the head indicators that I introduced. There were still some issues around that. I've introduced some improvements there. I've tested them. They seem to be very consistent now, so we shouldn't run into any other problems associated with that. I also revisited the head indicator as well. It was still not displaying correctly, so I had a deeper look into that, and not only was he ignoring him, but he was also throwing up an exclamation mark indicator when he wasn't really supposed to as well. So that's been enhanced. I also fixed an issue causing the game to continue playing while the game was paused by pressing the P key. So when you press P, it just comes up with the pause screen, and nothing else should really move at that point. The characters may finish moving onto the space they're in, but that is only momentary, really. They'll end up stopping. This will be later enhanced with a better fix as I come to it, but with some effects that required the time scale to be at least higher than 0. This was not really possible with some effects, but I think the pause feature can be enhanced a bit later on. There are still some things we're fixing around the pause feature too. They will come in the next update. So really, they're the main things that I have been working on. There were, apart from some logo stuff that I did, which is really not quite that interesting. They were a bit inconsistent as well, so you may have noticed some changes to those. However, yeah, the rest of it was just just removing things that players shouldn't really have to need access to, that I put in the game and I forgot to take out during an update. So I'll be a little bit more careful making sure that those sorts of things are actually out of the game, like debugging information, that sort of thing, as it can be very distracting for players, especially when they're looking at the game and going like, what. So really, the next thing we're going to be working on is we're going to be focusing on more fixes. Like I said, there will be some fixes in relation to the pause screen. I'm going to be doing more enhancements with Chomp's AI. Now, I know I said that I would not actually be doing that. However, I have, after seeing some people play the game, I've decided that it would be best that I have a bit of a look into what we could actually do better in terms of Chomp's AI. So he's not exactly completely and totally random, given certain circumstances, especially when he's not eating the bread. His behavior does seem a little repetitive, or can be repetitive. It's got the ability for that. So yeah, those sorts of things will be being looked into as we speak. As of today, I've been working on an enhancement where he responds a lot better. His movement's a lot better as well. So instead of a timer for the direction he's going into and triggering a change of direction when the timer runs out, and now counts how many spaces he moves, and then when he runs out of spaces he moves between a certain amount of spaces, that is, he'll change direction and you know, set in a certain way for, you know, another set of spaces. And another thing I'm working on as well is that when he is close to bread, that he will focus the bread, as long as he is matching the X or Y axis and you know, right next to the bread, he should focus that bread as well. But I'm still working out a lot of things with that, but you should see improvements to that. So his behavior is not exactly completely, you know, unpredictable. You know, it still has variety, I think, but also helping the player out just a little bit more in terms of, you know, something that I think the player would expect in terms of his behavior, especially when it's written in the law that, you know, he's looking for bread. So those sorts of things are sort of coming. And of course, there will be more level design stuff done with the full version, although not much of that will be shown in devlog videos yet. It's not really available yet for people to play on publicly, but it is being streamed on Twitch. So anyone that is watching Twitch can certainly get a bit of a glimpse of what they can expect in the full version, and you know, have the pleasure of watching me create those levels, and even engaging and, you know, discussion around that as well. So that's pretty much all we've got for this video. There isn't much gameplay. I'm just sort of, you know, moving around as I'm talking here, just showing you that, you know, some of the things he's actually behaving, you know, a lot better. He's not doing things by mistake anymore. Those sorts of things at the moment. So yeah, I mean, there's also, just before I do go, actually, there is also something I do want to talk about, and that's in relation to the lolly packet. With some of the people I've actually seen play the game, they're still a bit unsure around how to use the lolly drop feature. Really, it can still be a bit challenging even with the lolly packet. However, it is a lot easier. You just got to sort of learn the flow of the game, you know, where Chomp's going, where you need to place a lolly. The lollies are best placed alone. If you put them in a line, it usually is not very as effective. It depends on how you want to use them, of course, but just try to think about how you can, you know, incorporate the dropping of lollies and how that can influence Chomp, and, you know, get what you want out of them, what areas you want him to sort of reveal to you, or, you know, uncover runes or keys and things like that, treasure. So yeah, placing one down is usually the way to go, and an area where his line of sight will reach, and he will focus those lollies and get you what you want. Although this time, although I wasn't really focusing so much, he did end up getting that rune there made available. So yeah, that's all we have for this video. I will be working on version 1.4, which will incorporate an enhancement for Chomp's AI, which I really need to test with the public as well. So I will need a lot of feedback around that. But apart from that, that's basically it for the moment. And my name is Luke Necklace, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.